Hi guys, I'm Shmee, hello and welcome back to the channel where today you join me visiting Hennessey outside of Houston in Texas to take a first look at their brand new Hennessey Maximus 1000. Now how cool is that as a name, the Maximus, which is based on the Jeep Gladiator and is kind of 4 cars rolled into one. Of course it is an off-roader, it is also a pickup truck. You can take off the hardtop roof and make it into a convertible, and fourthly, this thing, as the name suggests, 1000 is an absolute beast with 1000 horsepower, as much as the original Bugatti Veyron. That's thanks to an engine swap to the 6.2 litre supercharged V8 found in the Hellcat. Now today we can take a first look at car number 1 of the 24 that are going to be made. This is the SEMA show car, so let's check out then the Hennessey Maximus 1000. Of course, the Maximus is something a little bit different for me to be filming here on the channel, but like my only previous visit out here to Hennessey, I'm going to be driving a 1000 horsepower Jeep. That time around it was the Trackhawk HPE 1000, this time it is this car in front of us. Now Hennessey are known for these big engine upgrades and conversions, whether it's to off-roaders, to pickups, to SUVs, to American sports cars, and even their own hypercars in the form of the Venom GT and the new Venom F5. In this case though, the Jeep Gladiator, and I'm not sure whether this is primarily an off-roader or a pickup or which order it actually comes in, but it's based on the Gladiator Rubicon, which is the top level specification trim of the 4 different options that are available, but with quite a few substantial changes. Visually, it has been raised up by a whole 8 inches. You've got new King suspension, of course you also have new wheels and gigantic off-roading tyres. Around the front, you've got this new bumper piece, the Maximus logo through the centre, also the running lights. But the big change is what you have up here. So let's get this unlatched and have a quick look at the engine that lies within, which comes, like I said, from the Hellcat. If I can just find a latch here to lift this up, the 6.2 litre supercharged Hemi engine making 1000 horsepower. It's a complete built engine. Normally this engine stock would make 707 brake, so it's been rebuilt, done up from the ground all the way up towards the top to make 1000 horsepower, but that is quite frankly ludicrous and it sounds insane as well. So let's latch this back down with these quite fun latches that you have around the side. Lift that over, snap it into place, do the same on the other side. Now I've not previously driven a normal Gladiator, I'm not going to lie, so this is a new experience for me. You do have the distinctly Jeep looking front grille and headlights, but around the side I can't work out whether it's pickup first or off-roader first. The normal car sits obviously quite a lot lower than this one, but you do have all of that luggage loading capacity at the back. I'm not necessarily sure the primary purpose of the car other than it just being cool. So it will have running steps. For the moment I do need to kind of jump up to actually make it in here. Maximus serial number 1, built in Texas, USA, where we are at the moment. They've obviously retrimmed the seats as well. You can see the Maximus and Hennessey embroideries and also the diamond quilting. We'll swing all the way up. Not the easiest thing in the world, quite a long way up from the ground, but let's start it up, have a listen to this. Oh yes, based on the Rubicon. Of course you've got all the infotainment and systems you would get in the Jeep. You've also got the 8-speed auto as original. Here are the keys, just so you can have a quick look at what the key is like for the car, Jeep key. But today I think we'll be keeping it in normal, not low range or anything like that, because it's the show car. We can't take it off into the off-roading. We can enjoy the tarmac, and Hennessey have this test track and drag strip down behind us here. The workshop's down towards the far end, so plenty of opportunity to hear and get a little feel. Just check out that supercharger whine you could hear there of what this car is actually like. I don't really know what I'm in for. Let's go and drive then and find out. Hennessey are very kindly letting me use the entirety of this area to go and have some fun. This will take some getting used to. Not exactly, like I said, a car that I'm particularly familiar with. We do have an 8-speed automatic, so we'll pop it into gear and go and have a little play. And I tell you what, the turning radius for a car that has such a long wheelbase is actually pretty impressive. And then as we get moving, listen to that supercharger. Listen to the whine of it, just driving gently. You've got that deep, throaty V8 grumble at the back. Then you've got that whine that you can hear coming from the engine compartment up in front of you. I tell tell you what, driving and sitting inside here though, there are grab handles absolutely everywhere. You can tell that kind of ruggedized off-roading nature. The roof looks a little bit funny because of course they are the removable panels, and then you have this roll cage inside of them. In fact, there's the cage that goes all the way around you, and a fabric soft top which is stored away in a case actually at the moment in the back. We have this traditional 8-speed auto. We don't have any paddle shifters. You can pop it to the left to go up and down the gears, but basically I'm just going to leave it in automatic because that's kind of what it's built for. And we're currently driving, like I said, in the 2-wheel drive mode as opposed to 4-wheel drive or going into 4-wheel drive low range or anything like that. Just cruising though. Let's go up the kind of corners, twisty road side, and yep, first corner, you do feel that suspension that is not exactly road focused, we could say. It is a little bit wallowy, but that is not the point of this car. This, to be honest, I'm not entirely sure actually what the point of this car is, but what I can tell you is that it's a giggle, it's a riot, it's a laugh, and that's kind of the why not. And actually, as you arrive here at Hennessey, there's a big sign at the front entrance that literally says everything is bigger and faster here in Texas, and I think that is pretty accurate. This just seems to fit and make some sense for some reason, so let's get a little bit more on it. Hear that supercharger as we head up these narrow paths, and normally this is a little bit of a jump, but I rather suspect in this, yeah, you just kind of cruise over it. So we'll head all the way around towards the end of the runway, the kind of long drag strip, and then head on back to be able to accelerate a little bit harder. This feels really strange. When you put your foot down, the gear drops and you just get that whine out of it. All the noise in the world. Those guys are looking to have some fun on the off-roading section at the moment. Alright, round the corner we go. When we get to the straight, it can be foot down and we can hear and experience a little bit more of this. So, I'm going to line the wheels up at first, and then we will kick down. Wow! And listen to that! And the numbers, okay, don't necessarily build up like a 1,000 horsepower supercar. Let's be real, it's a much bigger and heavy car, but you do not expect something like this to get a move on that quickly. The front nose just picks up and it pulls away and accelerates. I don't necessarily get the car other than just because you can, and that is half the fun quite often with these things. And I guess it makes sense out here in the US. When you're driving it though, of course you've got the latest Jeep infotainment and everything in terms of the systems and safety and technology and all of that side of the car. You've got a digital display in the center part of the dashboard in front of you, and well, we're just cruising along. I think you could just drive it. I imagine it guzzles quite some fuel. That's not necessarily the point out here. In fact, when I was driving here, I drove past a fuel station, a gas station, which I think probably had at least 100 pumps, if not more, at it, which was moderately insane. I've never seen anything like that anywhere in Europe. So we're sat up high, the seats are comfortable, they look really nice with the embroideries, the stitching, and the different colours to match with the red of the dashboard as well. That's from factory. What else can I say about the car? Well, you've got the diff lock side of things, the switches. I'm not going to play with those right now just because of where we are, just driving around on the tarmac. Steering is a little bit funny, but funny how all of these kind of cars would be. I mean, it's not supposed to be, you know, direct and the most precise steering feel in the world. That's not what a car like this is trying to be. It would be much lower and much stiffer if it was. Let's go a slightly different route here actually. Let's head towards the right, just out onto the runway. It's just the sound that it makes, and in fact, if I where are the window switches in here? That's actually my first challenge. I tell you what, this is quite funny. Oh, there they are. That took me a moment to find. The window switches are in the center. Even without accelerating hard, that's 40 miles an hour. The sound it makes is ridiculous. The sound it makes is absolutely ridiculous. And then we can swing it around in a pretty tight, small area. Yeah, easily does it. What do I think of that? All the noise in the world without having to plant your foot to the floor. It's America, hey? It's America. It's a beast. I don't know how better to describe this thing. It's a different driving experience. I've not really driven anything like this before. I mean, you need the power to get this thing moving. 1,000 horsepower though is just ridiculous. It's a big old number. And yeah, here we are literally on a drag strip. In fact, I think I can probably turn around just in the space I have right here, which steering is light at low speed, light and easy. And basically just having some fun here, really. We can imagine the lights dropping. Of course, I'm not coming to a standstill and doing a launch control. Entertaining. It's just really entertaining, and that's what I felt when I drove the Trackhawk here as well. Okay, I'm more of a sports car kind of guy, but I get it, you need the practicality and you want to be able to just drive over anything and everything wherever you go. This is a no-brainer, right? This package. So 24 is the number, I think, per year that are going to be made of these. This being car number 1, it costs $200,000, including the donor car. So $200,000 is the all-in price for the whole package. But it's, I guess, a thing that is a specific niche. It's different, right? If you see a normal one, it's about 8 inches lower. There's a huge, huge, huge difference. Let's just pop it back into park for a moment, open the door, have a quick little listen to this. Wow. That's cool. New exhaust, obviously. New air, like, completely rebuilt. Completely rebuilt. Quite good fun, I'm not gonna lie. At this point, I haven't really pressed any of the buttons inside, so let's discover all of this together. Starting down here, where of course we have our selector for 2-wheel drive, 4-wheel drive and low range. Just in front of that, we have the diff locks. So I presume if I press that down, we lock the rear axle, or you can lock the front and rear, and I guess pressing off, rear axle unlock in progress. Next to that, we've got off-road plus mode, sway bar. We've got the aux controls. We've got a 12-volt socket. In the center, we have our 4 window switches that I couldn't find earlier on. We've got USB-C, USB, normal, and aux. Under the media toggle, we've got our climate control. Up top, we've got the touchscreen. I have not pressed any of this at all yet. So into apps, we've got Wi-Fi hotspot, projection manager, some usual things that you would expect to have in the car. Controls, I'll bring up the backup camera, reversing. This is all very responsive and decently quick. Our main climate and audio controls, and I guess plenty of settings to be able to play with also. That works decently. Start stop button is just here. On the steering wheel, a couple of menu controls and things as well. At the left, the rev counter up to about 6,500, and you can see it gets very loud very early in the rev counter. The speedo goes up to 120 miles an hour. I'm not quite sure what the top speed would be, but this at 120 would be an interesting experience, we could say. Light controls, mirror controls, pretty cool door handles. I guess the lock in the center, unlock and lock here. And otherwise, I guess most of this is quite cheap and plasticky, it has to be said. So it's a nice upgrade to have done the seats to have the Hennessey interior. You can see the back similarly to the front. And then up top, you've got this kind of cage that you can see that goes basically through the entirety of the upper sections of the car. And then these latches, which you open literally to take the roof panels off. It's, I guess, that simple, although I'm not going to try and do it single-handedly, having never done it before, because no doubt that would be quite challenging. And there's some more just there as well. You can see the way it pops up. So that is all held securely down and in place with those. So you can literally make this thing into a convertible, but it's the sound that is really monstrous. Listen to that. Wow, what a noise. What an amazing, amazing noise that this thing can make. Okay, let's hit the button to shut it off. I tell you the one thing though, until the side steps are installed, it is quite a long jump down to the floor. Oh, yes, step all the way down. Around the back, you've got the big loading area, plenty of space going on back in there. That's nice and easy, loads of room. In fact, if I jumped up on there, that's not going to be the easiest thing in the world to do. Let me see if I can do this with the camera quickly. There we go. I managed. And I'm up on top of the world, as I have watched and experienced Stradman doing in the past. Up on the top of the car, you've got a small rear window. This feels completely random. I don't really know what I'm doing. Let's jump back down, get back down to the ground. Close that back up. Hennessey logo on the side. Huge suspension system. Let's see if there's not much room at all in the back at the moment, with the roof that is stored back here. Interesting kind of design, webbing on the back of the front seats, storage pouches. And yeah, just the nice trim, fit and finish going on inside the rear of the car. Front passenger, all the same. So this is literally car number 1, as the plaque over on the driver's side says, of the Maximus 1000 from Hennessey, which has been, I mean, it's cool by name, it's cool by nature, it's a bit random, it's a bit different, it's very, very different from what I'm normally filming, but cool to have a first opportunity to have a look at it. So a big thanks to Hennessey for that, to be able to come here, to be able to drive this car, and to be able to show it to you guys at the time it is first presented. We'll be seeing it again though at SEMA, but that's it for now. Thank you very much for watching, guys. I hope you've enjoyed this video and the first look at the Hennessey Maximus 1000. I will see you again though very soon. Cheers!